Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Kerri Medders about Bring It On, Cheer or Die, premiering on Syfy October 8th. Welcome back to the show. It's so good to see ya.
I am so excited. Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. We did the interview, I think, last year, but it feels like it's been a long, long time ago. Get this. As soon as I got this interview confirmed, I wanted to tell you this. You did that Disney Channel movie Spin.
I did.
There's like 4 leads in it, right? And I've interviewed all of you for different projects. Isn't that crazy?
That is so funny. Like you're just getting it back.
I've interviewed yourself, Jabril, Avantika, and Anna. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's funny how it's like all separate occasions.
Like none of them were for Spin.
That's so funny. I always say it's so interesting how this like industry works because everyone is always just finding each other again.
It is so crazy. And we're talking about your film, Bring It On, Cheer or Die. I mean, it's spooky season. We love watching spooky content. First thing that kind of comes to mind is I feel like it's a unique kind of situation for an actor like yours, like everyone on this project, because it's like familiar territory, but also at the same time unfamiliar territory, because we know like the Bring It On like name and brand, and we know it's going to be cheerleading, but this is Cheer or Die. This is a whole different thing, so it's not familiar. Did you think about that at all? Because I feel like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because, okay, so originally like Bring It On, it's iconic. Everyone knows cheerleading.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a huge fan of horror.
Yeah, me too.
And the fact that they were like, I auditioned for that, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. And then getting it was like awesome because it's a whole different thing. Like it's kind of like the first of the franchise to branch out and do something different. And I always thought, what an interesting cheerleaders and horror. I was like, that's it's pretty cool.
It's the slasher component. Like, did you know, like, I'm really excited to ask you. Okay. I was about to say, I was about to say something really cheesy. I was gonna be like, I was dying to ask you this question. Because the movie's called Cheer or Die. What did you know? Like, how much did you know about the project, though? Like, when you were cast? Like, did you know it was a slasher? Did you know Bring It On? Like, I'm just curious about that.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring you back to like the audition process.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so I remember my agents ended up sending, and they're like, okay, they want to see you for Bring It On of Cheer or Die, and so like the description was just about like what it was about, but it wasn't hinting to anything, and all of my scenes were like 2 scenes, and it was just me on the bus cheering on these people, and they're like, oh, she's a little awkward, and I was like, okay, so let me just do this. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And then I submitted the audition, forgot about it for about a month and a half. And then my agent called me and was like, hey, so you got it. And I was like, okay, wow. And it was just like, I dropped to my knees and I was so excited. But the whole thing is I had no idea what I was getting myself into at all. Like 2 days I had to be in Canada to shoot it. And I was like, and then I read the script and I was like, oh, this is like a full like slasher film.
What are those conversations like with, Tiara and your other like castmates about the fact that you are making this unique slasher film because of the Bring It On perspective?
Yeah, I think it was so interesting because we did talk about it and how it's kind of the first of the franchise. And the great thing is we had 2 weeks of cheer camp before we even started filming. Mm-hmm. So we all got to bond and like talk about our characters and be like, oh, how are we in relation? And why did we do this? And what is our game plan? And it was really cool to talk about this cool idea.
Is it really cool to think about the fact that like the movie's kind of dropping at a time where it's spooky season, so we're watching it all, but like there's like people are like ready to go, right? Like people want this content. So there's like an appetite for it right now, I feel like. Not only the fact that it is October, but like we're in kind of an age now where people just want to watch horror. Like people love the genre, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've noticed that a lot of like the movie trailers when I go to the movies, it's like all these horror slasher films. And I'm like, oh, that must be the season. Right now we're in that time period because it always goes, it's always rotating of
Yeah.
like what genres are in. And I think that's so cool.
It's crazy because when I grew up, like
Mhm.
going to movies, like the horror was like it had its like fans, but it like wasn't
Yeah.
what it is now. Like
Yeah.
not even close. Like
Yeah.
you can make an argument that it's like the most popular genre of movies right now. Like
I think so.
yeah, you can.
I literally yesterday, side note, I went to go see The Barbarian, which is an insane movie.
It's really not what you think it is, by the way.
Like, the trailer does not. I was like, I don't know what I'm getting myself
There's
into.
so many movies like that, though, that the
Yes.
trailer, it's like they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, they are. Like, there's so many, but
If you watch
in
the
that
trailer
whole-
for Bring It On, Cheer or Die, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, I've seen it.
you know what you're getting.
you know what you're getting into.
No, but
yeah.
they're doing it on like Barbarian. You're right. Like watching the trailer is like kind of pointless.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but all right. And then you go in, and it was like the first time I think I had popcorn in my hand. And you know, like the abstract, like they throw the popcorn because they're scared.
Yeah.
It happened to me for the first time in my life.
There's like I used to watch all the time with my parents. There was like Mr. Bean, like Rowan Atkinson, and he has one skit because the whole thing about Mr. Bean is it's just him in situation. He doesn't talk a lot. It's just facial expressions.
Bean.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he's watching a horror movie and he has like the popcorn. He's just shaking the popcorn and the popcorn goes everywhere. When you said that, it reminded me of that so much.
Me.
Oh, it's so good. Are you noticing that there's different subgenres now of horror? I mean, like one can make an argument this film, Bring It On, Cheer or Die. I mean, there is a little bit of like comedy, even though it's not supposed to be funny, you know what I mean? But like, did you know that it was gonna be kind of have those genre bending moments? Like, can you notice that in the script a little bit, or?
I think they were trying to bring in the element of Bring It On.
Yeah.
Bring It On is like kind of campy in a way, and I think in a slasher way, it was like, how can we incorporate that? And also, they had to follow the PG-13.
Yeah.
So a lot of the scenes were supposed to be. It's interesting because reading reviews, a lot of the scenes, people were like, oh, there wasn't enough blood. But the thing was, it's like, we had so many guidelines of like, oh, they can't have too
If they
much.
don't cheer, they're gonna die though, right? So
Yeah, right? Right, guys. There has to be more blood.
no, I'm just saying like that's oh my god. Yeah, no, but the PG-13 totally.
Yeah.
Like that
It's hard.
but it's
And
also
people
like
don't
it's also premiering on television too, right?
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
So it also is a whole nother thing with a PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
Like, guys.
Oh my god. No, it's so funny. There was like a few movies that I did interviews for recently, and I've watched like the trailer for it, and it was like, it's just so funny saying about Barbarian. Like, it was so like pointless. I'm wondering if they're like doing that on purpose now, though, because it's like one or two trailers that are nothing like the movie. It's like coincidence, but it's like 9 or 10. You know what I mean? It's like maybe it's a trend of like trailer making.
It's a trend of trailers. There's like one guy sitting in the movie theater and be like, that movie I'm making a trailer about, we're just gonna show like the most obscure shots.
It's not even gonna show the monster.
No, they're gonna think it's a comedy and you're going in for like a horror. Like
Kerri Medders is a storyteller. That's what you do. What is like diving into all these different worlds like your favorite thing of storytelling? Like, is that the best part about it?
absolutely. I think I kind of transform, even if I don't realize, in like the essence of my character every time I'm playing someone different. And it's so much fun to be able to portray a story and be like, oh, I'm kind of this advocate for this character to bring it to life so people can find maybe themselves in these characters or whatever they're dealing with. It's a time to maybe reflect and relate or even just have fun and like relax from life, And I think it's cathartic.
100%. No, It is cathartic, but it's literally, I remember like doing an interview with someone and I asked them the storyteller question and they said they were at like one of their friends' kids' birthday parties who was like for 10-year-olds, and a 10-year-old that came up to him and he's like an actor and he's like, what do you do for a living? And he's like, I play pretend for a living. And it's kind of like, he's not
So
lying.
fun.
Like, that's what he does.
Yeah, I make a joke and I say, people are like, oh, you can lie about things, and I'm like, I do that like all the time on like, I pretend I'm in a world. I'm like going to tell the truth.
Were you hoping you were going to like, does it kind of just happen working on like different projects, or is that like the plan? Like, no, because there are some people that like are ambitious, right? And like want to kind of, they talk to their team and they want to kind of get in like all these different things, but a lot of them are just like, no, like it just happened.
No, literally, it just happens. You get an audition, you record it, and then you're like, hey, you like what I do? All right, cool.
Where would you say horror ranks in terms of working in it? Because I know you're a big fan of the genre as like a viewer, but like in terms of working, like, is it up there?
I think so. I think more recently, like, I just finished like something that's going to be on TV as like a guest star spot, but like coming out
so many details.
Yeah, no, I can't really say anything. I'm just, I don't want them to like come after me. But
it's on a thing.
Yeah, on a TV show. I'll promote it. But it's like a Halloween episode, but it's horror themed.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to get more people noting that I can like scream, like a scream queen vibe. And they're starting to know that I can kind of morph myself into the more horror genre. And I think that's really cool because it's kind of something I've wanted to do. And people have recognized that in me. And it's cool that now the industry is like, hey, I didn't know you could do that.
Do you have... I'm going to ask you to name 2 movies right now. And if it's like a toss-up, because like I still have a toss-up, but there's like a difference between the scariest movie you've ever seen and your favorite horror movie, right? Like those are 2 different movies, right?
Yeah.
What is your favorite horror movie and what is the scariest horror movie you've ever seen?
Oh, okay. My favorite?
I know it's tough. Like there might be like a couple, right?
Okay. Horror, but like, do you count psychological thriller? Because
they eat it, like the horror fan eats it all up, right? Like,
okay,
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, they're gonna eat this all up. The Shining was probably one of my favorite. I was so obsessed with that movie. I was in a college class and I wrote a whole psychological point of view of why this film was made for people. Like I wrote a whole paper for my professor and he was like, wow.
Did you see Dr. Sleep?
I haven't. I know.
It's good. It's good.
Is it good? Is it a good follow-up?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay. I'm not trust you.
What's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
Well, there's 2. Okay. So I remember watching The Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
But there's like a scene where it's like there's a throat scene and I was like, There was a sequel and I was like, it's not happening for me. I had to turn it off. I was like, it's not cool. And then The Barbarian. Yeah. If you really think, I had the whole popcorn moment. That's never happened to me.
So for me, there's a movie from 2015 called The Invitation. It was on Netflix for a while with Logan Marshall Green. And it's literally Dinner Party Gone Wrong. And it is like
It's the one with the envelope, right?
So that's a new one. That's the Invitation. Okay. It's funny because that's the new one with Thomas Doherty and Natalie Emmanuel. Okay. It's the same name, but 2 different completely movies. Both are great movies. I knew that was gonna happen. Man, that just happened. I brought up the movie a couple of weeks ago, and someone knew what I was talking about. Yeah. But this is the 2015 one. This is literally Dinner Party Gone Wrong. Okay. So you should check it out. Like it's really good. It's called The Invitation. It's good. And you can watch the one that came out too. It's pretty good too. But then there's The Strangers with Liv Tyler. Do you remember that one? With like the masks and the cabin.
No. I saw that one too. I forgot about that one. Could you not sleep?
I couldn't sleep.
For a while?
I couldn't sleep.
Yeah. I forgot about that one. I
That
hated that.
movie is like that is like one of the most terrifying movies I've ever seen.
Well, it could be real. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's not like, oh, like not saying anything, but like Freddy Krueger isn't gonna like, come out of the bed.
Freddy
or like,
Krueger is showing up tonight.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, now he's gonna come after me. You watch. But you did it.
Bring It On, Cheer or Die is going to be premiering on Syfy October 8th. I mean, it's a good time, right? Like, what are you hoping they get out of it when they get to watch it? Just have a good time?
Yeah, I think just kind of it relives the classic in a way. There's tributes, but also it's like a slasher, so it's good for the season.
Yeah, it's spooky.
It's spooky season, guys.
That was like the greatest explanation. It's a tribute to like some of the best like cheer movies of all time, and it's a slasher. That was awesome. Kerri, so great having you back on Popternative. Thank you so much for your time.
This was awesome. Thank you.
So October 8th on Syfy, they can check it out. Instagram is probably the best place they can keep update with you, right?
Yep, absolutely.
It's just Kerri Medders. It's just your name.
Kerri Medders. That's it.
Awesome. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Bring It On, Cheer or Die premieres on Syfy October 8th. Until next time, this is Kerri Medders and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.